Well, hello guys and welcome to this week's episode of The Musical Show. We have got a lot to get through. But first of all, I have got to look at an album that I missed. Pig. I've only just started this thing and I've already missed an album once this year. But yeah, the week before, when I only reviewed that 21 Little Harold album, there was actually another album that if I knew it existed, I would have reviewed. And it was Cemetery's Butcher House. So I thought I'd give it a quick mention. It was one of those things that is absolutely horrific, but also kind of fire. It's weird. However, despite us trying to sound weird and experimental, it still almost felt a bit boring, formulaic in terms of song structure, and constantly repetitive. Because sometimes I don't even really notice the song structure if the song is that good. But, like, in this case, it's not good enough that you don't. So, yeah, but still, it's decent, and there are some quality songs out there. But Cemetery, for the love of God, can you please change your producer tag? It's fucking shit. Hang on. I thought my foot was bleeding for a moment. But yeah, 6.6 out of 10 for that. Get that out of the way. Let's look at the albums that released last week. I'm going to go from worst to best. At worst is Trippie Redd with Mansion Music. It's a 25-song trap album. The start and the end is always bearable and always full of the best songs, but as always, the middle of it is complete shit. And given as the middle is the most important part and longest part of the album, it brings it down a fuck ton. It's predictable, it's not unique at all, and pretty much from start to finish beat-wise, and it really doesn't do that much for me. Plus, Trippie wasn't even that bad on his performances. I quite liked Trippie's performances largely, to be honest. But there wasn't that much Trippie, honestly. There was way too many features, and most of the features were shit. DaBaby was probably my favourite feature. I mean, technically, it's Juice WRLD, and maybe Travis up there as well. Lil Baby's first feature on that song with him and Future, as in him, Trippie, with Trippie and Future. Lil Baby's verse on that was alright. That might be up there as well. Wish the Kid wasn't too bad either. But yeah, DaBaby, honestly, defo the most noticeably improved verse from his usual piles of shit, and honestly, none was the best song. And Chief Keef, man, like, you make such good music. Trippie Redd has such potential. Give him better beats. The beats were shit. Imagine if these trap albums were only like 10 tracks long. They'd be so much better. But unfortunately, they're 25 songs long, and it goes from whatever the rating could be to a 2.1. Defo far below my expectations of like a 4. After that, we have got Lucas Graham with 4, the Pink album, because it's their 4th album. Oh yeah, they're a band. Did you know that? I didn't know till last week. Lucas Graham, not a very good singer. Sounds like Ed Sheeran. Boring, dull pop majority, and you could hear the auto-tune to the point that it's painfully bad in some songs. Honestly, it has the worst song of the year in my eyes so far. And there have been some bad songs this year. Already. Right, let me look for it. Lucas Graham. It was, Lie. Lie's my least favourite song of the year so far. You could hear the auto-tune. It was unbearable to get through. Although the last 3 songs weren't actually that bad. I mean, if it was still like that, it would have been a 4 or a 5, but without them, and if it was just the songs, aside from those last 3, it would have been a 1. I mean, I'm not even calling those 3 songs that good. They're just far better than anything else on the album, and they're actually bearable. But yeah, they make the album go from like a 1 out of 10, and even worse than that Trippie Redd, to my final rating of 3.5. Next, we've got Ice Spice. I am using a Munch album cover. I'm not risking the EP album cover. If you've seen it, then you'll understand why. I mean, it wasn't sensational in like any way, shape or form, but like, when it comes to drill, I never hear anything that doesn't sound the same as everything else. And largely, I feel that doesn't. When are you ever going to hear a beat like the one on Bikini Bottom? Probably never. And it almost felt like a trap album, which in a way I sort of admire because it's a drill album and it feels like a trap album, and thus it's sort of unique in that way. But yeah, it's nothing special. A 6.2 out of 10. Next, let's move on to Måneskin, Rush. Nothing revolutionary and one of their weaker albums, but it's still a fun fucking album. It's casual, it's full of casual and enjoyable bangers, although it does have some shit songs such as Blah Blah Blah. Honestly, what were they thinking? Also, do more songs in Italian, please. You're so much better when you do songs in Italian. I mean, I suppose my favourite, like La Fina was one of the best songs on the album. And Breathe Your Diary and Gasoline were decent. But yeah, there was just quite a few skips, quite a few piles of shit. And what was good was only really good. Like, it wasn't made to be anything special, and it wasn't anything special, but it was still fun, it was still casual, it was enjoyable. For me, anyway. It's not been for pretty much anyone else. I've not seen this album get a super positive reception. But I enjoyed it, 7.2 out of 10. Next, we have got Big Pig with Bubblegum. While I do think her vocals, or at least production on the vocals, because there was defo some sort of effects on them, could be slightly altered so I could understand what she was saying in some songs, and there are definite issues and defo things that need to be improved in future albums. There is so much potential in this. So much potential. Big Pig could genuinely be a star, because this, as I said just then, showed so much potential. And if she actually works on it, it could be incredible. Like, structurally, I loved it. There just needs to be a few tweaks to, like, the overall sound, just so it's slightly cleaner, I suppose. And, yeah, but it's a really good start. 7.7. But last, we've got our current album of the year, Mac DeMarco, 5 Easy Hot Dogs. I did sort of allude this to be an album of the year, but, yeah, it feels like a Mac DeMarco album. I mean, obviously it's a shame that there's no vocals, but his music goes hard, just generally, instrumentally anyway. And he does enough in most tracks to encapsulate the feeling of a road trip, because that was like the entire purpose of the album, to feel like a road trip. Absolutely feels like a road trip. Super relaxing. I'll definitely be thinking about that album when I'm actually like studying and shit and like trying to help myself. And I definitely admire the fact that this album still felt different in a way to the rest of his albums, despite his sort of area of indie pop being super limited and specific. I do definitely admire that. And yeah, this was a fantastic album. And my album of the year. And it's defo my first really, really good album. 8.8 out of 10, my highest rating so far. But a hell of a lot of albums have came out this week, and I will be listening to a hell of a lot of albums. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But unfortunately, I'm only looking forward to 2, maybe 3 of them. Yeah. First of all, we've got Ava Max, who has dropped her new album, Diamonds and Dance Floors. And for all of it, it just sounds like an Ava Max album. And her type of sound is just boring to me and just sounds like every other pop album ever. I'm expecting about a 5. Popcan, the song with Drake was shite. I'm expecting the rest of it to be pretty shite. I'm expecting it to be a 3. But it does also feature Burna Boy. 57 minutes long, 17 songs. Not looking forward to that one. But Lil Yachty has just dropped an alternative album. It's been helped out by the likes of a member of MGT, Alex G. Fouché has a feature on this. There's a few others that I'm missing as well. And from what I've heard, it actually sounds really, really good. And this is defo an interesting direction, and from what I've heard, it's working well. I'm expecting, because of his vocals maybe not quite fitting this subgenre music, like an 8. But for what I've heard, it's fantastic. Shane Dawson is dropping their new album. Oh, it's Sam Smith. Yes, I did steal that joke. Yeah, they're dropping their new album, Gloria. As you can tell, I'm trying so hard not to use their incorrect pronouns. Obviously featuring Unholy, also featuring 3 appearances by Jesse Reyes. One of his songs has been produced by Calvin Harris. One of their songs, sorry. And it's also featuring Ed Sheeran. I'm expecting it too, I'm going to be honest. The songs building up to this was shite. I'm presuming it's Quincy, because XCII sort of say C, and that's Quinn. So I'm presuming it's Quincy, but that's just how it's spelled, just in case it's not. He's dropped his new album, The People's Champ. It is featuring Big Sean, Chelsea Cutler, Adrian Cota, and AJR. Just because it's featuring AJR, I'm expecting a 2 for this as well. I am not looking forward to that at all. Cheat Codes have dropped their new album, One Night in Nashville. Yes, it's a country album. Yes, I am listening to a country album. I know, it's sad. But sometimes that's what you gotta do. I almost skipped it, but it's featuring one song has Dolly Parton in it, so I just thought I don't really have much of a choice. Because if I don't know the artist, I look at the features and see if there's anyone I've heard of. And if there's anyone I've heard of, I listen to the album. And country music, I don't hate it as much as some other people do. Unless it's like the type. But like, sometimes it's decent. Sometimes it's decent if it's not about dumb shit. If it's about bearable, normal song subject matters. A lot of this is just about love. What? I think it might be a concept album, just about a breakup or something. Although there is a song called Sippin', so it's going to have a few corny, shite country songs in there as well. But I don't know what to expect, but from the song titles, I'm going to say a 3. Kimbra. You may be wondering who that fuck that is, but she was actually the other person on Somebody That You Used to Know. She's still going, unlike the other guy who's became somebody that we used to know. And in fact, she dropped today with A Reckoning. It is going to feature Eric the Architect, Tommy Raps, Pink Silfu, and Ryan Lott. 10 songs, 40 minutes long. To be fair, Kimbra, I think she's actually meant to be quite decent. I'm going to say a 7, because I don't want to go like overly high and like ridiculous. It's mad that my highest expectations are for a fucking Lil Yachty album. I've just realised that. But yeah, I don't want to like have too high expectations for this. But like, I do think it will be good. And to wrap up, SG Lewis is dropping Audio Lust and Higher Love. It's going to feature Tove Lo, Charlotte Day Wilson, Channel Tress, Ty Dolla $ign, and Lucky Day. Oh, I don't know. I've never even heard like a sneak peek of any of his songs. I'm going to say a 6. It's safe. It's safe, isn't it? A 6. And it's a bit optimistic. So yeah, I'm listening to 8 albums this week, and I'm only expecting like 2 or 3 of them to be good. Hopefully that isn't the case though. But honestly, I never thought I'd be so excited for a Lil Yachty album. And I never thought I'd expect it to potentially be the best album of the month. Because from people's reviews, from what I've heard, I've seen people give it a 10 already. And honestly, it's crazy to think people genuinely think Lil Yachty could end up with Album of the Year. Lil fucking Yachty, the guy who made Poland. But yeah, the album's meant to be decent. I'm gonna give it a listen once I finish editing this and doing news on Borrington shit. But yeah, thanks for watching today's episode of The Musical Show. Hopefully I won't be too negative with all my album reviews next week, because I am expecting a lot of it to be shite. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. See you next week. Hopefully, if there's not less albums I'll end up listening to, and trust me, I'm definitely not missing anything. I've looked at about 3 different people talking about what is released, and amalgamated all the ones I want to listen to. Trust me, I don't think I'm missing anything that I actually want to listen to. But yeah. Singles wise, I don't really mention singles that much. I think there's yet another Midwest single with Denzel Curry. Quando Rondo released a single apparently. KSI released a single with Oliver Tree. And Loser by RD has also came out. But obviously there's definitely some that I'm missing out on. But I'm not a singles type of guy. I like to wait for the albums. I like to... it's just more interesting that way in my eyes. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next week. But yeah, as I said, hopefully I'll like more albums than I think I will.